Okay, you can go.
All right. Okay. Good morning, learners. I hope that you are doing good. So welcome to the last lesson of the week. If you remember, we are doing paper one, which is everything that we have covered this week. And we were focusing on visual text, which means the things that have to do with visual, the readings and cartoons and advertisements that we have done. So as a matter of wrapping up, remember that this is paper one. Next week, we will continue with paper two. And the other week of the lockdown, we will continue with paper three. So, you know, my thing, whenever we start the lesson, I always want to get your thoughts around what we have done the previous day. So now I want you to do the usual teaching and reflection, teaching and learning reflections in terms of what we did yesterday about advertisements and adverts. I want you to tell me what did you find to be very helpful? Is there anything that we can do differently? And how can we improve our teaching and learning? So remember, I want this. Probably you can send me on on my email, that is anela.siswana@yahoo.com, or you can DM me or WhatsApp me so that we have a better understanding of where you stand and what are you benefiting from these lessons, and then more than anything else, for us to be able to improve our teaching and learning for your benefit. Am I clear? Can I see thumbs up if you follow what I'm trying to say? Okay, I see others are new. I'll probably take them through as to what we covered just briefly before we can enter, before we can do today's part, which is about a segment that has to do with advertisement, but focusing on certain aspects of that. So if you remember, this is what we did. We started by asking you your favorite advert, and people shared their experiences about their favorite ads, the Nando's, Outsurance, and many others that were highlighted as we did that. So as a newbie or as someone who is new in this class today, you can also think about your favorite ad that you like and why you like that. So the main outcomes that we focused on, it was for you to explore and understand visual text, to understand the trick of how to answer visual text. And we focus more on the golden rule of advertising or advertisements. That is, number one, is to grasp attention of your target market, to convince, persuade, to excite interest and curiosity. So as a matter of, again, trying to remind you, we said that in advertising, the intended audience is called the target market. You should be able to identify the target market using visual or text-based clues. So we focused again on the AIDA or IDA formula, depending on how you pronounce that, on how to create an effective, creating an effective advertisement. And the acronym is explained as follows. That is, A, their attention, that at the end of it all, advertisers use various techniques to grab the readers or viewers' attention. Details and information in the advertisement are always there. So the I is for the interest, that the reader or the viewer interested in the product must be interested. The desire advertisers trying to create a desire for the product in the reader or the viewer, and the action. So I'm just trying to quickly touch back on those things for those ones who are new in the group, just for them to be acquainted. this is our practice that we usually do so that we can all be in the same level of understanding. So I asked some of your classmates to tell me their reflections of what they see there, and there were different answers, observations that came out on the basis of what people saw. So then we spoke about target market, which is, this is the group of people that an advertisement is trying to reach. It may be divided into age, gender, social status, and activity. Advertisers use the fact that buyers classify themselves in order to create adverts to appeal to those classified groups. Then the examples that come with that. And again, we looked at the application of what we have learned about advertisement, the principle of the idea, and we looked at this ad, and we noticed that what is important here is the brand that you see, that is VW. VW trying to sell their product as one that works for their cars, and mostly it is an effective one for one to use, especially when there's something wrong with VW products. So then there was a debate if whether it would appeal more to females or to appeal more to males, and the discussion was to both. It could be the same, but you'll get the slides of what, and then these are the questions as to what do you think is the target market for the poster that you saw there? Do you think this is an advertisement would appeal more to, as I've highlighted that? So those are the things that came out from that. So attention, it was also something that we spoke about yesterday. The interest, and there are two ways of doing this. That is the visual techniques that cover all that is mentioned under there. And then we looked at the linguistic techniques, that is the punchlines, rhetorical questions, cliche, and slogan. And remember, on this section, on this part, I encourage people that they start using their dictionaries. You don't necessarily need a hard copy of a dictionary. We have dictionaries on our phones. You must acquaint yourself to have a dictionary so that you can have a better understanding of some of these words and make sense of them when you read, and for better understanding, right? So again, we speak about the desire of what every advertiser or advertisement tries to get your attention, the desire to want to buy the product, right? And then we spoke about the action that you would find out that in adverts, you would get these things, buy one, get one free, as a matter of drawing attention and action, limited stocks, limited term offers, money back guarantees, your assurances, your policies. You can think of different ideas and different adverts that you have seen, the discounts and everything that comes with that. Remember, this is just a review of what we did yesterday, which is not the focus of today, but it's an extension of what we're going to focus on. So everyday speech, vocab being less sophisticated, simple sentences, and all of that which you see here. The emotive language, and that the language informs viewers of the product or service, the language that aids the selling of the product, the use of jargon. Other people asked, what is jargon? And again, I encourage that people must go to use their dictionaries to understand what these words mean, and all of that comes with that. And then the take-home lesson of what we did when we analyzed this picture, it was the whole idea of sanitation, of saving water, and another theme that we really focused on because we are on lockdown is the idea of using water effectively. I understand we are all encouraged to wash our hands for at least 20 seconds. We must do that responsibly, keeping in mind that we should save water, and don't forget to sanitize. So again, in the end, when analyzing an advertisement, it is worth paying particular attention to the third stage of the Ada formula, the creation of desire. Desire is created by humans for various needs. And again, I understand that this is kind of a different concept, which is you may not have been familiar with, but in part of your examples in the material that you have, they speak of the Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs. This is probably something that you'll read later in your career, or you may want to expose yourself by reading and trying to understand what it means. It's a theory that was it's a way of thinking about something, but Maslow, this is a theory that he used to think about needs. So again, we spoke about possible careers in advertising and digital marketing, and people came with a number of choice and options that speak to this. And also, if you were not part of this lesson yesterday, you can start thinking about those things and consider your various options around that. So before we continue to today's lesson, are there any questions? Any questions? Thumbs up if I should continue. Okay, I see that people are quiet. So today we are continuing with visual literacy. So one of the things we need to look at is the copy or the writing. So look at any writing on the advertisement. I see there are people questions. Yesterday was perfect. Yes, it was. Okay, thank you for the feedback. All right. So look at any writing on the advertisement. So this is what you need to think of when you think of this, the copy of the writing. What sort of language is it using? How informative or persuasive is the text? That is what you are reading. And what are the keywords and what is a slogan? Another part that is part of the visual literacy is the graphics. That is pictures that you look at. So what is happening in the illustration itself and how does the design affect the message? The logo, that is the picture or graphic used to as an identifying symbol, acts as a signature for a brand. Think at the back of your mind an image or something that you can think around as an advert or as something that you can think about in applying those things. A slogan, that is a short, memorable phrase that is immediately associated with the brand, right? Then there are catchphrases, a clever, witty phrase designed to attract the public and which does not necessarily appear in every advert for that product. So every ad, it could be on TV, it could be on radio, it could be something that you're reading. There's always that catchy phrase that is aligned with that particular brand. So clever use of wording, using alliteration, a rhetorical question, or a smile to keep the reader interested. So these are kind of what we call celebrity endorsements, using a well-known person to sell a product, as you've seen in the DSTV ads, Zanzi, SABC, and most of the time when they are trying to sell or advertise a product, there will always be a celebrity or someone who's very well known to help with the excitement and the desire, their interest, their attention about that particular product. We know, as an example, there's that ad that we're quite familiar with, the one about COVID-19, where different figures, sports people, media personalities are all urging us to stay at home and sanitize and do all of that. So these are the kind of things that help us to think about that, right? So now, again, another thing that we need to look at is you incite the desire, you make sure that people get to desire the product, right? And another thing that you need to do now is to motivate. So motivation on how the advert tries to persuade the target audience. So you've got the product that you're advertising, and you want your readers, you want your buyers, you want the people to be convinced to buy the product in your advert. So one of the things you need to look at is, how is the advert trying to sell the target to the target audience, right? And then consider persuasive techniques. That is use of color, typography, type size, style type, and font. That immediately should be one of the things that persuade as a matter of a technique. Use of space, graphic devices, photography, that is framing, lighting, focus, angle, effects, and all of that. We know how these things really influence the buyer or the reader or the one who needs to be convinced about whatever that you're trying to sell. Figures of speech, it could be puns, it could be personification, it could be alliteration, etc. Expert witnesses, scientific jargon, facts and figures. And these are the things that we've highlighted, but now we're going more deeper into those things. And again, language is very important. That is brand names, keywords, slogans, captions, logos. All of these things should be tools and techniques. Technique, basically, it should be, what is it that you do? It could be a skill that is very particular that eventually you want to make the one who is listening or the one who wants to get the product to get just to buy it. All right. And then there are these terminologies, and it depends on your pronunciation. These are things that are mostly used in thinking around. So I see there's a question. All right. Okay. So the first one, it's using humor, irony, or exaggeration to criticize a person or a group and make them appear funny or silly so that the other people would see their faults. So you'll see how these things work out in images and in some adverts that we all know. And the irony, that is using words that are opposite of what is really meant, often to be humorous, that is something that people can laugh at. Puns, using a word or a phrase that has two meanings in an amusing way. There are many others that I will send you as part of your vocabulary and reading more about them, right? So now we're going to look at this advertisement as a whole, right? So look at this image, right? And then apply these questions. How does the advertisement make you feel? Would you buy the product being sold to you? If so, why? If not, why not? Look at it, right? Then apply these questions. I'll give you about 3 minutes to work on that. Thumbs up if you all understand, guys. All right. Can I get your responses, guys? Grace, Jerusha, guys, this is all. Hello? Guys, I need responses. Okay. So one says, no, I wouldn't buy the product because there's an animal and I don't like animals. Okay. All right, I'm going back to the ad. Maybe to be more specific also, I see there's a comment here. So one says, no, I wouldn't buy it. Okay. Because I'm old enough not to mess my clothes when eating. No, because it does not seem interesting and catch my desire to purchase. Right. So let's go on to be more specific now. Right. Okay, here are the comments. The advertisement is weird in a way because animals do not wear bibs. As far as I'm concerned, babies wear bibs. Okay. All right, now let's move on. So let's look at the caption, right? The caption of this picture, of what you see, it says, wildlife is waiting for you. That's what the caption say. So underneath this advertisement, you find a caption that says, wildlife is waiting for you, travel. Thumbs up if you understand. I see other learners are complaining, your classmates, that there's some connectivity problems. All right. So looking at this caption, wildlife is waiting for you. So let's answer these. Let's kind of work on these questions. What is the purpose of the advertisement? Right? The advertisement, that is, what is the advertisement of this ad that you see here? The picture, sorry. And the caption is wildlife is waiting for you. So the first question is, what is the purpose of the advertisement? Secondly, consider the caption, wildlife is waiting for you. So the thing is, before you answer the questions below, you need to select the correct option by only writing down the question number and corresponding letter, e.g. 1 point. The caption above is an example of an oxymoron, irony, pun, satire, right? So check if this caption, wildlife is waiting for you, is either one of those options that you see there. All right, see. Okay. So, Lucia, I see your hand is up. Yeah, I see comments. So another one, purpose, people should travel. The purpose of the advertisement is to convince people to show care towards animals by traveling. For 1.2, others are saying it's D. For those ones who are saying it's D, can you provide a reason as to why you're saying it's D? And for those ones who have answered B, please provide a brief reason as to why you're saying that. Did you get the question? Justify as to why are you saying it's either B or D? Okay, one says, because the wildlife isn't actually waiting for you. Others are saying C. Okay, to move on. So you're correct that some of you are saying this is the reason is to encourage to travel to South Africa to see wildlife and safari trips. So the main idea is really it is about traveling and about wildlife. So those ones who said it's about traveling, you are spot on and correct. So two, it's B, it's irony. Some people even spell or pronounce it as irony. It's irony. That is, the caption is ironical. The wildlife is waiting for you so that they can eat you. So how, by definition, irony is the expression of one's meaning by using language that normally signifies the opposite, typically for humorous or empathic effect, right? So again, I encourage you to use your dictionaries to try and understand the definitions and the meanings of all of these words that we use. And again, I have said it before that this is first additional language. So I understand that this is not our first preferential language that we use most of the time, or basically home language. So you need to expand our vocabulary by using our dictionaries, by reading, by listening to things that can help us to improve our vocabulary and usage. So another thing that I want you to think about is in what you are seeing there is the word waiting used positively or negatively in the advertisement. In your opinion, is the choice of the image effective in supporting the message of the advertisement? Discuss that fully. Identify the time of the caption in the advertisement. So, right. So this is the advertisement. Go back to it. Wildlife, and the thing we are working on now is waiting, right? Waiting, and then in this context, is the word waiting used positively or negatively in the advertisement? I'm going to give you 3 minutes to work on these questions so that you can give me responses. All right. I see. So one says it's used negatively. Another one argues it's used positively because it is an encouragement to travel. Another one says yes, because the leopard is waiting on us as its meal when you go to travel. And another one, it's negatively used because the bib on the cheetah implies that it is hungry and wants to eat you. Positively because they are implying this to travelers as a way to encourage them to come here. Another one says it's positive, this is used positively, and the time it is in the afternoon. Another response says the negative is that the wildlife is waiting to eat us. They use it positively because it is an encouragement to travel, and others agree that it is indeed in the afternoon. So the answers, yes, most of you are correct in the way that, and remember this, when you answer these things, it is a matter of choosing one that makes sense. And the most important thing, it is to be able to justify. And this is a skill that you need to learn in every question that you are asked to respond to. You must always try to bring a justification that is a motivation of why do you say that is the correct answer, right? So if you consider that it is positive, that's okay. Or negative, if you consider that the waiting could be the customer or traveler be eaten, which speaks to that, some of the comments that others said. So it could be that you are correct. So 1 mark for an appropriate explanation. I would give you that if you said that. Nothing is awarded if there is no justification for that. So if you said positively and you're able to justify, provide reasons as to why you said that, that's correct. And again, because the reason why it could be positive or negatively, what we see, right, or an image of what is presented to us could mean different things. So sometimes when we look at images and we look at adverts, we get different kinds of messages of what those mean, right? So here's another activity that I want you to do for yourselves. Look at this, right? This is a Porsche, an advert of a Porsche. I'm sure some of you are excited and looking forward to drive that one day. So looking at the Porsche, how does the advertisement make you feel? Would you buy the product being sold to you? If so, why? If not, why not? Let's look at the Porsche, right? This is the Porsche. And then you go back and ask those questions. Then you answer that. So you can do that at home. So now let's move into cartoons. Remember, the time we have is 45 minutes, and it does not cover for what is in our CAPS document, which our CAPS document usually is longer than the duration of these lessons online. So don't rely only on these slides, rely on your textbooks and things that you have as a matter of an extra reading material in preparing for your test and for your exams. So in summary, cartoons are a powerful teaching tools and can, one, tell a complex story in few images, provide comment and provide thought or events and issues in the news, give an example of vocabulary related to current trends, provide easily identifiable characters to form the basis for sketches, culture in action with the ways that men or women are behaving and are expected to behave, to comment on and illustrate as a whole range of issues like racism, teenage relationships, and all of that, right? So these are the tools that are important when analyzing a cartoon. So number one, it's actions. So what is happening in the cartoon when you see an image of a cartoon? Think back when you were a little baby or when you were a child, and some people still watch cartoons even now when they're adults. So you always need to check as to what is happening in the cartoon. How is the action portrayed? Again, you look at characters, what emotions are communicated through facial expressions, what actions and emotions are communicated through body language. What does the body language suggest about the relationship between the characters, right? So keep these things in mind, the action, what is happening, the characters, right? Then the language, what words have been used, how has the punctuation been used to suggest the emotion, the setting, where and when is the cartoon set, what is the particular social context, right? And the stereotypes, the symbols, has the cartoonist made use of stereotypes, has the cartoonist used the symbol to represent something else. So now, keep these things in mind as a matter of tools that you use to analyze a cartoon. One, the actions, right? What is happening? How is the cartoon portrayed? The characters, who, right? What are the actions and emotions that are there? The body language, the language, how is it being used? The setting and the stereotypes and all of that. So now this is an activity that I want you to do again. Right. So refer, so this is frame number one, right? So referring to frame number one. What emotion is the mother experiencing there? Right? Gasp, oh my gosh, what? So what emotion is the mother experiencing? How does the cartoonist use the visual clues to show that the mother's feelings? What are the words gasp written? Sorry, why are the words gasp written in brackets? What is the connection between the word gasp, the word oh my gosh? Is it justifiable? That is it appropriate? Is it right for the mother to enter while her son is in the bathroom? You motivate your answer. And what indication is there that the boy is busy? So this is the image. Right? This is the conversation that's going on. But I want us to focus on activity one. These are the questions. That is under 1.1, we have what emotion is the mother experiencing? How does the cartoonist use the visual clues to show the mother's feelings and all of that? Because of time, I will help you to read some of the responses. Okay, let me just check others, the comments on this. What's going on? Okay. Wow, I see there's so much conversation happening. Oh, yes, 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 yes. I love the responses. They are quite very correct. One says, it doesn't really have any impact on me. as I'm not a posh person. Okay, that's referring to the first Porsche that we had. I'm more into vintage cars and don't see the hype in having the best of everything, as it doesn't provide you with the happiness, only temporary happiness. Another one, in response to the mother and the son, it's shock, hysteria, shock, she's shocked. The brackets show it's an action, her facial expressions and the shape of the. I love these responses. They all speak to exactly that which I had expected. So what I'm going to do, because of time, and when we send the slides, we will also include answers of all of these activities so that you can have a better understanding of what we're trying to do. So from yesterday, we worked around advertisements in various texts, but we looked at advertisement again, mostly on digital aspects and the things and the tools that you use. And so today we focused again on using those tools in how to interpret certain images, on how to interpret certain advertisements, and how to interpret or analyze cartoons. And these are important skills and resources that you need to have for you to be able to respond. As part of paper one assessment, in your test and in your exams, you would be asked to use the skills to analyze cartoons, to analyze advertisements, and all that we had spoken about over this week. So it has been an amazing week, us getting to know each other, and hopefully that we will keep on doing this and learning and becoming more interactive. I can see that today we were more interactive. Continue asking questions, right? If you've got clarities that you need to have, you can send me an email. And please, guys, you can follow me on Instagram and DM me for questions and clarities. And remember, this is one way of just assisting you. It's not a full school kind of activity where you would get responses immediately, where you'd get teachers having to respond on time to your questions and clarities. Just bear in mind all of those things, and we're trying our best to support you so that at the end of the day, you are able to pass and to do well in your academic year this year. Have a great weekend. Study well. I look forward to seeing you next week. Cheers.